Welcome back to Not So Grand Garage. Today is the day we start testing on this centrifuge unit. So we got to get this drum filled up. I've done a few modifications to my setup here to accommodate that. So let's get started. So to keep everything simple on my end, I'm still going to fill up this drum up here. Reason being is I don't want the potential to overfill that drum later when I rerun all this oil through the single pass unit. But anyways, we're going to be pulling from this drum in the corner. All of these tests will be done out of this tote right here. Pull it, fill it up there, and then we are going to go on and gravity feed it through this 50 micron filter. It's going to come down, and I'm just going to drain it out of the bottom of the heater element with this hose right into the top of the drum. So we'll get this filled up and kick the heater on and get going on that. Got our gravity drum full, so I'm going to go on and open this valve all the way up. Going to go on and open this valve all the way up. So I'm probably going to have to tweak that a little bit to get it to open all the way. But here we go. A little over half full. It's taking its sweet time, but it's getting there. Well, our drum is mostly full. It's not quite there yet. It's taken a long time to gravity feed out of that drum. It's also been down in the 40s at night here, so that oil's cold, so it is what it is. Now that the drum is mostly full, I went on and kicked the heater on. And over here, I've got our kilowatt meter keeping track of energy use. So right now it's pulling about 840, 850 watts, something around there. We're at 0.09 kilowatt hours total so far. So I got a nice heavy cord ran down here to a splitter where I can plug the motor into it as well. And that should work. Now, once this heats up, I'm going to run this thing approximately 20 hours over the next couple of days. I don't have a lot of time as far as just sitting here and letting it go. And being as it's a temporary setup and it's all new to me, I don't feel comfortable letting it run overnight. So I'm going to do this over the next couple of days. But yeah, I should be able to get the first 5 to 8 hours ran today, depending on how long it takes to heat this oil up, especially with this drum not being insulated. So we'll see how long it takes and go from there. But for the time being, I'm going to close the doors on this shed, keep as much heat in here as I can, and go from there. On a side note, that band heater is cranking out some heat, so you want to be sure to keep anything away from it because it'll burn your hand pretty easily. So yeah, it says it's a 1200 watt heater, but I'd say that's probably right at first startup because resistive type heaters like that, the current draw drops as they heat up. But anyways, yeah, we'll just keep an eye on it and go from there. Once it heats up, I'll power it up and check everything for leaks and go from there. We're still warming up, but I went on and kicked the pump on just to check it for leaks. And I had one small leak at the base of the centrifuge because I only put 2 bolts in it. One thing, I don't know if it comes with the kit or not, would be a base gasket for this. That would be nice. Might be a change I would make, but RTV will work. I just didn't put enough on it. So got that situated. And I went on and adjusted the pressure relief. You take this cap off, and there's a basically a flathead adjustment. You turn it 360 degrees, put the cap back on. That'll set it roughly at 100 psi. So if pressure goes over 100, this will bypass and kick oil out. As you can see, it had oil coming out of it because I ran it up to about 75 and it popped off. So anyways, we're doing good. Just waiting for things to heat up. It's going to take a lot longer for this to heat up, being as the drum's not insulated. But yeah, it is what it is. So, well, as you can hear, we are up and running. Spinning good. We're holding 95-ish psi. And everything seems to be working well. And currently, we're pulling. Not sure if you can read that or not. 1240 watts, give or take. That is with the heater and the motor running. And this is not up to temperature yet. So as the oil heats up, it's going to take a little bit more load off that motor. But it's going to take a substantial amount of time for that drum to heat up with no insulation on it. So I'm going to let it ride and just see how it does. It's flowing good. It's spinning the centrifuge up just like it should. So I think the oil is thin enough at this point, but it's not quite to 170 degrees. So anyways, I'm not going to bore you with the run time. I'm going to let it run off and on for a total of roughly 20 hours over the next few days. I won't have time to let it run 20 hours straight because, like I said, I don't trust it yet because it's a new setup to me. Now, if it's something I would have had set up and have ran multiple times, then no, I wouldn't have a problem running it overnight. But being as all of this is brand new, I'm going to monitor it and see how it does and let it run in batches basically. So as you can see, not sure if you'll be able to see down here or not. We got oil flowing. So yeah. And interestingly, I have discovered that I'm not getting nearly a 55-gallon batch like I thought I was. So that's interesting. But anyways, I'm gonna let this run. I'm gonna let it run probably 5 or 6 hours tonight, and I'll come back out and shut everything down. I think I will keep this kilowatt meter on so we can track total kilowatt hours and such for the whole batch. But like I said, it is going to take more power for this batch here because lack of insulation on the drum and everything else. So I don't know how skewed that information will be or that data will be for you guys, but it is what it is. It'll be a data point, something we can look at. So anyways, I'm gonna let this run. Well, we're about an hour in. My oil leak at the base of the centrifuge has come back, which that is 100% on me. I didn't seal that up well enough. So whoever ends up winning this, when you mount it to the top of the drum or to the drum top, whatever you're going to mount it to, be sure to put a healthy bead of black RTV around the base and use 4 bolts in it instead of 2, and then you won't have that issue. But yeah, so far so good. No signs of problems at all. No leaks, no issues with the kit. Motor's running cool, pump's running smooth, and I doubt you'll be able to see it now, but let's see here, right around 1200. We're fluctuating around 1200 watts total with the heater and the pump running. So you can pretty well figure out your total power consumption. Just multiply that by how many ever hours you're going to run it, and it'll be 1.2 kilowatt hours per hour you run this thing, essentially. So yeah, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna check on it later tonight and see how it's doing, and who knows, I may just go in and let it run overnight. I don't know yet, we'll see. But so far so good. All right, This unit's now been resting for approximately 24 hours. So we're gonna go on and open this up on camera, see what we've got. Might take a few weights and just to write them down, and we'll compare information later in some other videos we're gonna be doing. But yeah, let's open this up and see how it did. Definitely see the buildup layer all the way around the inside of this rotor. Fairly substantial, especially considering this oil has been settling for over a year. That tote there has been sitting inside this shed for over a year untouched. I've been pulling from that one because I was refilling that one and pulling from that one and pulling from one of the ones outside. So I decided to pull from this one for all these tests that I'm doing, so to keep everything even. We're pulling from the top, so all the sludge and what have you should be settled out to the bottom if there was any. But yeah, let's go on and scrape this mess out. I decided the easiest way to do this, to be as accurate as possible, I have not wiped anything off of this, just the liquid has drained out of it. So I'm going to snap this back together, complete, and put it on the digital scale over there. So here we are. I'm going to turn this on. So it is zeroed out currently with a towel on it. We are at 14.1 ounces, 0.05 ounces. So I'm going to take this out, take it apart, clean all the sludge out of it, and then reweigh it on the same towel. So, scales off, turn it back on, zeroed out, same towel. .75 ounces. We're looking at 1.35-ish ounces of material removed. So, 1.35 ounces of sludge and material removed by this little centrifuge in a roughly 20-hour batch. You might be thinking that doesn't seem like a lot, and it really doesn't seem like a lot up front. But keep in mind, that tote's been sitting for over a year, so the vast majority of the sludge and water and everything else is in the bottom of that tote. So the oil that we're pulling from is actually pretty clean. Your basic filters and stuff like that, wouldn't catch that much material. It might feel like it when you spin the filters off. That's because you've still got a lot of oil and just moisture in those filters, not water, but just wet oil, not necessarily sludge that's being trapped by the pleats in the filter or the filter media. So what does that mean to us? This unit's doing a good job. That's what it means to me. I noticed that the band heater was getting the drum hot enough to evaporate moisture, because I was getting a little bit of steam rising off the drum during this whole process. That's a good thing. That's another reason why we didn't see a ton of sludge in this bowl, is because the moisture that would turn that into a goopy sludge, a lot of it was evaporating off. So you also have to keep in mind that was 1.35 ounces of submicronic material, and mixed with moisture that had turned into a liquid sludge. That's stuff your filters aren't going to catch to begin with. So the vast majority of what your average filtration systems are going to catch is all sitting in the bottom of that tote. So this oil would have passed through those filters without an issue, and they likely wouldn't have caught much of anything. This setup was able to pull an extra 1.4 ounces of material out of the oil, and that doesn't take into account the moisture that has already evaporated off during the whole process, because this drum is up to temperature the entire time. So 20-hour batch, you're going to be losing a lot of moisture just venting out of the top of the drum that Centrifuge doesn't have to catch, so you won't see that. I will say also that I was not able to get this drum up to full temperature like it needs to be. The drum needs to be insulated to do it, especially with a 1200 watt band heater. To get 55 gallons or 50 gallons of oil up to 170 plus degrees, you got to insulate this drum. So the Centrifuge ran fine and did its job. It would probably pull a lot more material out if I was able to get this drum hotter, but I just wasn't. So there's that to keep in mind as well. So what do I think about this unit overall? It runs just like the one that I had for 6-8 years. I'd have to go back and look at dates on pictures to see how long I ran the thing for. I know I ran it for at least 6, because we've been out here that long, plus a few in town before we moved. So yeah, I'd say closer to 8 years that I ran one of these units, and build quality and everything seems on point. I don't have any issues there. The packaging, overall packaging of their whole kits is nice. It's plumbed really well. It's simple. The footprint of this whole setup is basically the footprint of a 55-gallon drum. So if you've got a small area to work with, this setup would work really well for you. Now, how does it compare to the direct drive unit? I prefer the direct drive unit, mainly because it's set it and forget it. It's fairly quiet and it just does its thing. So that's just me. Will the single pass or the direct drive outperform this unit? Well, we'll find out in some videos upcoming. I'm going to be running this same oil. I'm going to pump this oil right up into that tank and run it straight through the single pass and see what kind of differences we get out of it. See if we pull any more material out of it. I'm sure we will, because that unit's also able to get the oil up to temperature and keep it there, whereas I wasn't able to do that without insulating the drum. So that's not on PA Biodiesel. That's on me. That's on my setup. So more than likely, in a 20-hour batch, you'd probably want to clean this out at least once in the middle of a batch. So 10 hours in, clean this out, put it back together, fire it back up for another 10 hours. If you want to run them for 20. I used to run it for 40. That may be excessive, but it's what I used to do, and I never had any problems out of it. So yeah. With that said, some ideas for this setup. How I used to have mine set up. On this bypass valve right here, I would consider teeing this and putting another valve on it, and that way you can run this hose to anywhere. You can run it into another drum like I've got here with a pump and nozzle set up on it, and when you're done running, all you gotta do is flip 2 valves, and the same pump running the centrifuge will pump all the oil, transfer it all over into your drum. There's things you can do with this setup that make it a little bit more appealing compared to the direct drive setup, whereas your pump and everything's built in here. You don't have to worry about having a gravity feed set up or coming up with a pump that operates at a low enough pressure and low enough flow rate to feed the direct drive unit. But there's give and take to all of it. So we will, like I said, we're going to be running this batch through the single pass. We're going to do some comparisons on that. And then I'm going to run a fresh batch from that tote through the 6,000 RPM version, the extreme version of the WVO design centrifuge. And we're going to see if that upgrade is worth the cost and worth the effort. But yeah, so about this giveaway, let's get into some details there. All right. Now, as far as the giveaway is concerned, to enter, all I need from you guys is in the comment section below. I want you to tell me what you're going to fuel with this thing when you get it. As much detail as you want, that's fine. Doesn't matter to me. But I want to know that it's going to somebody that's going to put it to use. So I want to see what you guys are going to do with it. I'll be using a random comment picker coming a week from today, a week from this video dropping. That morning, I will... I'll video the whole process. I won't do it live because I don't really have the setup for that. But yeah, and I will reach out to the winner in the comment section. And once they reach back out to me, I will post the video of picking the winner and go from there. For those of you in the contiguous 48, I'll be paying shipping out of pocket, so this will be no cost to you guys at all. Anyone outside of that is more than willing to enter. But you will be required to pay shipping. If you are unwilling to do that, I ask that you don't comment, because if you do comment and you are picked and you're not willing to pay for shipping, I will have to pick a different winner. That's just the way it is. The shipping prices, the way they are, leaving the country gets really steep really fast. But I am willing to work with you guys, but I just can't pay for that part of it. You'll still get the unit for free, so yeah. It is what it is. That's all you'll need to do. I think I will run this unit through the through my ultrasonic cleaner or something like that. I'll clean it up real well, clean the plumbing section up, which this will be what you're receiving. I'll be unhooking this here, these hoses off of here, so you will get this section here and the unit itself, and it will be clean and ready to go. Well, guys, with all that said, I'll say this: overall, I'm impressed with this unit. I am glad PA Biodiesel is back up in operation and sending these units out, getting them out to people who are wanting to make their own fuel and become a little bit more independent of this system. Yeah, it's a great system, great setup. Everything went together smoothly, everything ran flawlessly. I didn't have any issues out of it. I have no complaints. I may suggest to PA Biodiesel, I don't know, that they preset this pressure relief to 100 psi instead of having the end user do it. Not necessary, maybe, but might be a change they might look into doing. That way it's just one less step for the end user to do. But yeah, have no complaints about it. Quality control seems to be on point. Everything worked right out of the box. Pump worked great. Centrifuge itself worked great. Didn't have any issues out of it at all. No leaks other than the one that I made, so that's on me. But yeah, so quality is on point. The customer service, I've been in contact with them a good bit, and they're quick to get back with me, and I don't think we'll have any issues there. So yeah, overall happy with it. With all that said, guys, I'm going to wrap this up here. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, complaints, what have you, drop them in the comment section below. I hope this works out fairly well. Obviously, this is the first giveaway I've ever done, so hopefully it goes smoothly. I think it will. And hopefully someone gets some good use out of this centrifuge unit, especially with how hard they've been to get here lately. So yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe. We appreciate you watching.